Hello everyone, so we are back with another video. I'm so excited. Today we will be dealing with compound decay. So if you have seen in the last video, I mentioned that in compound can be growth or decay, but then you've seen on the last video we focused more on compound growth. So in this video we will be dealing more with compound decay. So if you can still remember very well, on the last video I mentioned that the formula for compound decay is denoted by AC. C is equals to P1 minus I and then N. So this is the formula for compound decay. This C denotes the carrying value after a certain period of time, and then this P, it denotes the amount at the start. As I've already mentioned before in the last video, that this one forms part of the formula, so it's minus. This time it's going to be minus because we are working with decay. On the last video we've seen that EBLA plus, since we were working with growth, so if it's growth it should be plus, but then if it's decay then we are going to have minus here. So I've just managed to get this example. So this example reads as follows. Here, Tamo bought a car costing 250,000. If the car depreciates at the rate of 16% per annum compounded quarterly, note this terms compounded quarterly on diminishing balance method, how long is it going to take for the car to depreciate to 78,000? So question here is how can I level the skill state to the skills to talk about the financial mathematics, but then at the same time they are teaching us the skill to actually extract important information, because this first part here, I know it is so much important, but then the most important part here is this value and also this interest rate component quarterly. And then they want to know how long is it going to take for this car to actually depreciate from 250,000 to 78,000. So we are going to use this formula for compound decay. So let's going to copy down there. So it's P minus 1 here, and so they told us we are using diminishing balance method. So the diminishing balance method is another name for compound. So if you just know, if they say diminishing balance method, you're going to use this formula. But then if they said straight line basis, on straight line basis, you were going to use that other formula that we had on grade 11. It was as follows. Where C is equals to P1 minus I, and this one is for straight line basis, straight line method, straight line method. So, for example, they mentioned that we should use the diminishing balance. So we're going to take this formula and use it. So I'm just going to quickly plug this values. So the cost of this car, really 250,000. 250,000 is the starting cost at the beginning. Go on again, get the principal amount. So our principal amount is 250,000. So the carrying value after that certain period of time that we are trying to calculate here, the carrying value, it over 78,000 when because that's what we're still trying to calculate here. So the carrying value after that certain period of time, it should be 78,000. This is our carrying value. So this one forms part of the formula. 1 plus it should be minus. So another thing to note here is this with compounded quarterly. We have seen in the previous questions on the previous video, it was compounded monthly. That's when we had something like we divided by 12 and then we multiplied the exponent by 12. So here, since they said quarterly, you must know these things. If they say quarter, this time you're not going to divide by 12 because they said quarterly. You only divide by 12 if they said compounded monthly. But then since they said it's supposed to be quarterly, you are going to divide your interest rate that they gave you here. The interest rate is 16%. So you're going to say 16%, 0.16, you divide it by 4 because quarter is 4. And then even here, we don't know how long is it going to take. Hence, this is what we are trying to calculate here. So you can just say n multiplied by 4. Exactly the very same way we did on the previous video. So you're just going to solve this whole thing. So remember, on the last video I mentioned, or in grade 12 we're not going to be using a trial and error method, but we are going to be using logarithms. So here still you are going to apply the logarithms law, but then before that, let's try to simplify this thing as possible as we could. So let's divide this side by 250,000, and then this side again by 250,000. Remember, it's mathematics. What you do on the left, you must also do on the right hand side. So this thing is going to cancel this one. So we are going to be left with 78,000 divided by 250,000. So I'm just going to copy this whole thing to here. So it's going to be 78,000 divided by 250. So this thing is equals to this whole part here is again 1 minus 0.164, then 4 multiplied by n. So this part, that's when we are going to apply our logarithm laws. So logarithm says you log this side. So let me just try to simplify this thing. Let me just try to simplify it a bit further. 78 divided by 250. So in simplified forms, this here, they're just going to cancel each other. So we're going to be left with 78 and then 250. Yeah, so it's 1 minus 0.16 for 4n. So when applying logarithm, you're going to log this side and also this side. So it's log 78, this 78 divided by 250, then you lose the bracket, né? Then equals to this equal sign, log this thing, log 1 minus 0.16 over 4, then 4n. And then remember what I told you in the last video, that the logarithm law states that if you have an exponent here, you can take this exponent to in front of the log. So that's what I'm going to do right here. I'm just going to wrap here quickly so that I can complete my example. So we had log 78 250 is equals to, so when taking this thing to here, we are going to end up having 4n log 1 minus 0.16 over 4. So here you just apply mathematical rules. You just divide this side. We're going to divide this side by this thing. So I just want to cancel this thing. So I must divide by this thing on both sides. So I'm going to have log 1 minus 0.16 over 4. What is cancel on the left hand side, I mean, I'm just going to have 1 minus 0.16 over 4. So this thing is going to cancel with this one. So we know Shalangam said 4n. And then here we're left with this thing. So when plugging this thing on my calculator, let me just quickly do it so that I can see what's the final answer. So the answer that I got after plugging this whole thing in my calculator, I get 28.5. So here you must write all the exponents. I gave on the last video that on some instances they can ask you to state your answers in months. So these exponents are going to help you denote your answer in months too. So here, remember, we're heading, since this one cancels with this one, we're going to be left with 4n. So we just divide both sides by 4. Both sides by 4, so that 4 cancels 4. So on this side, 28.53 divided by 4 is. So our n is 7.13 blah blah blah. But then when you must keep all these exponents so that you can calculate your answers in months. So here, this answer, it means what? The time that our car is going to take, or it shifted, it depreciated from 250,000 to 78,000. It's 7 years, but then also as of now we don't as yet know the number of months that is going to take. So I've also showed you on the last video that for the number of months, you must subtract 7 from your answer. So you are going to say this answer with the exponents minus 7. So obviously we are going to be left with this exponent. So we are going to be left with 0.133. So what you want to do, 0.133, keep your number of months, but then remember one on a little bit, J12. Hence you must multiply this answer with 12 for you to get the number of months. So I'm just going to quickly do it. We multiply this thing by 12. We are going to have 1,596. So this thing, it suggests what our final answer is going to be 7 years. This is how you must write your answer. 7 years. This one, 7 years. But then how many months? 1. Hi, this one, you know, round off we show 2, 7 years, 2 months, or if you're on a during exam, you can still try to calculate the number of days it's going to take. But then now here, I'm just going to write 7 years, 2 months. 2 months. So this is how your answer should be. So I'm just going to move to another question. This one, it reads as follows. It says the carrying value of a boat is 27. It's supposed to be 27,000. I'm sorry. So the carrying value of a boat is 27,000. If the depreciation rate is 18% per annum, compounded semi-annually, note this way, semi-annually, how much was the boat bought if it was bought 15 years ago? So Moki, question is, calculate the cost price if you know the carrying value. If you know the capacity after 18 years, carrying value you're gonna get 27,000. So we're just going to use that formula, compound decay. Again, C is equals to P 1 minus I M. So okay, here we have the carrying value, this thing, and we also have the interest rate, and we also have the number of years. It's how much 15 years, and then what they need us to calculate is how much was the boat bought, is the P, the starting value. So I'm just going to substitute these values into this formula. So the carrying value is 27,000. That's what they gave us. And then what we are trying to calculate is the principal amount, P. This one forms part of the formula, minus I. How much is our I? 18%, but then check or compounded semi-annually. Oh, tomorrow it was semi-annually. The word semi means twice a year. So if you get semi-annually, twice. So here we divided by 4 because they said quarterly na little check 4, but then here they say semi-annually. So semi-annually is 2 things. You are going to divide your interest rate by how much? By 2. You are going to say 0.18%. This interest rate you divide it by 2. Why? Because they said semi-annually. So when you must know all these ways or not, quarterly, semi-annually, monthly. So you must be careful in this instance. So in 15 years, you are going to multiply your number of years by what? By 2 again. Exactly the very same way we did on the previous examples. And that's what we are going to apply here. So we are trying to calculate the P. So I can quickly just divide both sides by this thing. So I'm going to divide by 0.18%. 0.18, I'm sorry. 15 times 2 is 30. I'm going to simplify this one. And then even on this side, I'm going to divide by 1 minus 0.182 over 30. So this one, we cancel this one. Okay. And then here we are left with this thing. So you can just say P, this P, it doesn't matter if we come say or never come say, but then we're going to say this P, you can just, it's going to be equals to how much? 27,000. What divided by this? So you're going to say 27,000 divided by what? 1 minus 0,18, divided by 2. The exponent 30. So when I'm intuitive, you must use your intuitive word. If you know the carrying value is 27,000. Remember, carrying value again, get the value and escape it still after 18 years. So until they expect the way gram can't tell something if 27 because again to be a volume. Again, I'm going to depreciate in value. So they expect our grad. Charlie Taylor, if you 27,000, since 27,000, the carrying value after 18 years. So you must check if your answer makes sense because some of the people who answer less than this one. So you must check out is the answer that I'm getting making sense. So that's some of the things that you must check when writing your final answers. So answer a grammar. It's how much? The P is 457,216,605. So this is the final answer that we get. So answer, I would say, what does answer? This answer tells us, or if you know that carrying value after 18 years it's 27,000, then this is going to be the cost of the program to regular scale. We say okay, 457,216,605. So get price here a regular scale is if you know the carrying value after 18 years, go get to 27,000. So you can possibly one answer how during exam or during the test. So I'm going to move to the other question. Yeah, actually this is the last question for the compound decay. So the question reads as follows: Lerato bought iPhone 12 for 17,000. And then if the depreciation rate of her phone is 20% per annum on straight line basis, determine what its value will be after 2 years. So as I've already mentioned before, we have two different formulas to work with. It's either is it diminishing balance or it's straight line. So if it's straight line formula is C is equals to P 1 minus IA. And this one I've already mentioned, it's for what? Straight line. And then these whole ones previously, each are compound. So here this question they specified or we should use which method? Straight line method. So I'm just going to plug this information into our formula. So let me just read this question again. Lerato bought iPhone 12 for 17,000. If the depreciation rate of the phone is 20% per annum on straight line basis, determine what its value will be after 2 years. So when I got now into our phone 17,000 now. Value on it will guy after 2 years if your depreciation rate is 20% per annum. So we are just trying to calculate C, the carrying value here. So this is what we want. Then they told that the starting amount, the principal amount is how much? 17,000. And then 1 forms part of the form. Then how much is our interest rate? 20%, 0.2 multiplied by 2 years. So this one, now actually according to me, I think the straight line method is actually much simpler than the compound. But then, anyway, this is what we'll be doing. Then when I plug these values on my calculator, the answer that I got is C, it's 10,200. So actually, this thing this thing you must use intuitive. You must try to think about it more deeper. What if you don't correct phone 17,000? After 2 years, obvious, we expect the value that you are going to get here, it must be less than this one. They can't give you the cost of the phone, and then even though they ask you or calculate the carrying value, and then when the answer that you get here, it's greater than the one that you bought it. Okasweka kuli 100,000 today, but we reach 20,000 after 10 years. And we reach a billion if Hasinyana. So this is what we will be doing. So guys, this is my last question. So I'll just see you in the next video, and I hope you really enjoy and understand what these things actually entails. Thank you.